All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how to get a job in the automotive field as a mechanic. By the way, this video is not geared towards people that have already been in the industry for 5 years or more. This is kind of like the beginners, people that are right out of high school, possibly in trade school, or maybe they're already in a job and they just want to switch careers and be a mechanic. So that's who this video is geared for. I would like to say if you are new to the business and you've never worked in a shop before, they will probably put you in a quick lube setting where you're going to change oil, do tires, things like that, light maintenance work until you can actually prove yourself, and then they're going to move you up into the shop. But more than likely, that's where you're going to start. It's not a bad thing. You got to get your foot in the door somehow, some way, and then learn the business and then move up. That's just how it is. Basically, to start off, these are just my tips and pointers and my opinions. Don't take this as fact. It's just kind of like my opinions and advice on how to get a job. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty easy. There's 3 things you should do before actually applying for a job. Number 1, you want to type up a resume. You want to have a really good resume. And the reason why I say that is because most companies or shops that you apply to, they're not going to care about your resume, but it's always a good idea to keep a running log of places that you've worked, your education, if you've done any type of military service, if you have any special skills, training, certifications, all that kind of stuff. It's really good to have a resume already ready to go. So when you actually do fill out the applications, you have all your information right there. Second thing you should do, take care of your background. This is when you go in and apply for a job, most shops are going to want to do some type of a background check. What does this mean? Number 1, if you have any kind of open warrants, any type of court cases that are pending or anything like that, that could be a deterrent when it comes to trying to get hired. Also, if your driver's license is suspended or revoked or anything like that, could be a disqualifier. By the way, if your license is suspended or revoked, or if you don't have a license yet, that's not a deal breaker. Some shops, they actually work in a team system setting. So you won't be able to drive the cars in and out of the shop, but when the car is in, you can do work with your team member and then they could drive the car back out. So it's not really a deal breaker, but they are going to expect that you have your license squared away at some time during your employment. Third thing is you want to be able to pass a drug test. So I know that this is a real hot topic when it comes to passing a drug test. I know that some shops, they don't test at all. Other shops, they are really strict with their drug tests. Pretty much everybody falls in the middle. Now I'm going to keep my personal opinions out of this, but I would say you definitely want to be in a situation that you can pass a drug test. If you need to study for 2 to 3 weeks to pass a drug test, that's a good idea. I just recommend doing that. And even if they don't drug test you, something to think about down the road is, let's say you get involved in an accident, you crash a car, something happens where the company has to file an insurance claim. Normally, the first thing the insurance company wants you to do is take a drug test. If you fail that drug test, the insurance company can kick the claim. So that's just something to think about. I'm not saying anything pro, con, good, bad. Just be prepared to take a drug test. Okay, so that's the 3 things. So you want to have your resume squared away. You want to make sure that your background is good to go, and you want to make sure that you can pass a drug test. First way to look for a job is online source. So you can upload your resume to these job finder websites. There's a bunch of them out there. I've used these. They've been really successful when it comes to me trying to find a job. But you want to put your resume out there to as many companies and shops as possible. And that's really the easiest way to do it. Number 2, the second thing you want to do is call around to as many shops as possible. Just ask if they're hiring. What you want to do is get in contact with some type of a service manager, shop manager, somebody that's in charge that has some type of decision making as far as hiring new employees goes. So once you do that, let them know that you're interested in finding a job and try to schedule a time where you can come in, fill out an application, and set up an interview. Okay, the third thing is to actually go in person. What you can do is actually go around to the different shops, go right up to the service desk and say, hey, are you guys hiring? Can I talk to a manager? Find out if you guys are hiring. I'd love to fill out an application and possibly set up an interview. So just a reminder, when you go to the stores and you're actually trying to find a job, take your resume with you, that resume that you already have squared away, so that way you can fill out an application right then and there and hand it over to the manager. You don't want to take the application with you and then go somewhere else, because what happens is you get the applications mixed up. You might not actually turn them in at a later time. So try to fill them out while you're in the store or in the shop, and then try to set up an interview with the manager or whoever does the hiring. You want to set up an interview as soon as possible. So just as a recap, 3 things that you want to do before looking for a job. Number 1, type up a good resume. Number 2, make sure that your background is good to go. And number 3, make sure that somehow, some way you can pass a drug test. And then once you do that, go online, submit your resume online to put it out to as many employers as you can. Number 2, call around to the different shops, ask them if they are hiring. And then number 3, go in person to the shops. Just a reminder, if they say, no, we're not currently hiring, still fill out an application and give it to them for their records, because when they are hiring, they'll have your application and they can give you a call. That's it. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps. The end.